Chapter 1 of Young Mandalorian.
Most of the Mandalorians that she had been told about by her mother had either died or were in hiding over the years. She was now 8 years old and things were getting back to normal, whatever normal was for a Mandalorian. Training with her mother every day, and slowly Mandalorians were becoming what they once were. Within the shadows they were becoming who they were and what they once were. Foundlings ran around with helmets on and she was made to keep hers on around others. She hated the rule if you took it off you couldn't put it back on. She knew that much. This is the way. She thought a long time ago, do I really want to be a Mandalorian? I mean seriously, mom never lets me get that far from her. I'm training a strict yes. I'm grateful for somewhere to live. That's not it. It's just I feel like I'm missing a part of myself. And I don't know what. The other foundling asked her to play and she never wanted to. She walked over to the door where her mother had just went in. She thought about going in and stopped. Something told her not to go in. I guess must instincts, she thought. The door slid open and mother stood there dressed in her armor. Alex didn't like it. She hardly ever saw her mother's face. You may come in, her mom said. She went in and looked up at her mother. The door slid shut and Sabine took off her helmet. Alex did the same, dropped the helmet. Alex quickly hugged her mother and Sabine pushed her back, holding her back as she knelt down on one knee. She laid her helmet beside her, Cider looking the trail in the eyes. I have good news. Clan Ren is alive. They got out of the way of the destruction in time. Mandalorian is slowly going back to what it once was. Clans are forming once more and we are going back to Crown Est. I need you to get the clothes have there for you and put them on. I will be in the forge waiting for you. No, hurry up. Sabine finished and stood. She left the small room they had stayed for so long. Alex looks over at the folded clothes on the bunk. She took off the white outfit that she was wearing and put the gray pants on, connecting the belt that had where you could hook blasters onto it. Black tunic type shirt that went up to her neck and a gray jacket. She put the gloves on that had metal on the outside, then the COM link on her right wrist, and socks in the middle, covered boots, then the knee pads and elbow pads what you're made of the same kind of metal, and she knew what it was. Beskar. She rubbed her fingers over the metal, the iron that was found on online Mandalore, and it's noon. She's been told stories about that in the war between the Jedi and the Mandalorians. Countless grades. I'm taking over a piece of area within space, called Mandalorian space. She knelt down, grabbing the helmet and turning, walking out of the small room. The door slid open and slid shut behind her. She thought things can change, right? She pulled the hood up on a jacket and walked past the other foundlings and they were playing tag. She walked to the foraging area which was deeper underground and her mother stood there. She was holding someone in her hands. Alex got closer to her mother's outstretched arms. Alex took the Mandalorian knife from her mother. Her mother had crafted the blade herself and engraved her name on one side of the blade. Thor Anti-Boer, Alex said respectfully. English. Thank you, mother. Mother nodded her head and Alex followed her out of the forge. They went up steps until they came out into an alleyway. They walked past vendors selling strained foods from other worlds and goods. The market area was huge and she walked behind her mother. Some grabbed her right and yanked her over. You got any credits, girl? The man was an ugly-looking alien and she reached for her 9 with her left hand, grabbing a hold of the hilt, and her mother stopped in her tracks. Would let God of the child if you want to live, mother said with our moving. Another alien scoffed and said, real Beskar, he said. Alex clenched her teeth and brought her right foot up her knee, touching her chest, and slammed her heel of her foot hard into his ankle. He screamed out in pain. She brought the knife up with her left hand, cramming it into his right eye. Blue blood ran down his face as he reached up and she yanked the knife out. He let go of her, just did that instead, and she pulled away. Her hood fell off when she ran up to her mother. No one attempted anything else when they started walking again and leaving the market. Sabine put her left hand on her daughter's shoulder, pulling her over to her as they kept walking. Are you all right? Mother asked. Yes, mother, Alex answered her mother. They walked out of the small town, go on a good distance until they got to the ship her mother had saved up for and got. It was a very unique ship really, and her mother hadn't given it a name. She had helped her mother with building it piece by piece and it was literally put together piece by piece. Her mother opened the shop and they got on. The door closed behind them. Her mother took off her helmet and turned and looked at her. I think our ship needs a name. Alex thought for a minute and then said, how about the Arrow Dagger of Clan Ren? Sabine smiled and said, I like it, the Arrow Dagger. They went to the front of the ship where the cockpit was and Sabine activated the ship. They took off the platform up in the space through hyperspace back to their home. Chapter 1, 1041 words. Chapter 1.